The poor girl thought he was just a regular bartender. Please rate this story from 1 to 10. Tell us where you are watching from and share if you have a similar experience. Subscribe for new stories every day. Let's begin. Maya stared at the hospital bill in her trembling hands. The numbers blurred through her tears. $80,000 for her mother's emergency heart surgery. She had 3 days to pay, or they would discharge Sarah without the procedure. Maya worked 2 jobs, but her savings account showed exactly $412. She felt her chest tighten as panic set in it.
There has to be a way. There has to be.
The fluorescent lights hummed above her in the hospital corridor. Other families walked past with their own worries etched on their faces. Maya had already called every bank, every lending company, every person she knew who might have money. All the answers were the same. Her credit score was too low, her income too unstable, her mother's condition too urgent for traditional loans. She pressed her forehead against the cold hospital wall.
Mom, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do.
Inside room 314, Sarah lay connected to monitors that beeped steadily. Her skin looked pale against the white sheets. She had raised Maya alone after Maya's father left, when Maya was 6. Sarah worked as a seamstress for 40 years. She never complained. She never asked for anything. Now she needed this surgery, and Maya couldn't provide it. The doctor had explained that without the procedure, Sarah had maybe 2 weeks. Maybe less. Maya walked back into her mother's room. Sarah opened her eyes slowly. She smiled when she saw Maya. It was the same gentle smile she had given Maya throughout childhood. The smile that said everything would be okay, even when it wasn't.
Hey, Mom. How are you feeling?
Sarah reached for Maya's hand. Her grip was weak, but warm. She told Maya not to worry about the money. Maya lied easily. She had become good at lying these past 2 days. She promised her mother she was figuring it out. Sarah nodded and closed her eyes again. The pain medication made her drowsy. Maya sat beside the bed and watched her mother breathe. Each rise and fall of Sarah's chest felt precious. Maya stayed until visiting hours ended. Then she walked out into the cold November evening. The city lights looked harsh and unforgiving. She had nowhere to go except back to her tiny apartment. But she couldn't face those empty walls tonight. Maya found herself walking toward downtown. Her feet carried her without conscious thought. The streets grew busier as she moved into the entertainment district. Bright signs advertised clubs and bars. She had never been much of a drinker. But tonight felt different. Tonight, she needed to stop thinking. She pushed open the door of an upscale bar called the Grand Meridian. Soft jazz music filled the space. People in expensive clothes laughed and clinked glasses. Maya felt out of place in her worn jeans and hospital-smell jacket. She slid onto a bar stool at the end of the counter. The bartender approached with a friendly smile. He looked young, maybe early 30s. He wore a simple black shirt and had kind eyes.
Whiskey. Whatever's strongest.
The bartender studied her for a moment. He poured a generous measure of single malt. He didn't ask questions. Maya appreciated that. She downed the whiskey in one gulp. It burned her throat. She welcomed the pain.
Another one.
Rough day.
It wasn't really a question. Maya looked up at him properly for the first time. His expression held genuine concern. Not pity. Just understanding.
You could say that.
He poured her second glass. This time he leaned on the counter. Ethan had been working at the Grand Meridian for 6 months. Nobody here knew his real identity. His father, Richard, owned a chain of 12 hospitals across the state. Ethan was supposed to take over the family business. Instead, he had walked away to find something real. Bartending gave him freedom. It let him meet people who didn't want anything from him. People who didn't know his last name meant money and power. He studied the woman at his bar. She looked like she carried the weight of the world.
Do you ever feel like life is just one impossible problem after another?
Every day.
His honesty surprised her. Maya found herself smiling despite everything.
At least I'm not alone then.
You're definitely not alone.
Something about his voice made Maya feel safe. The words started tumbling out before she could stop them. She told this stranger about her mother's heart condition, about the $80,000 surgery bill, about the rejected loan applications, about her desperate phone calls, about feeling completely helpless. Ethan listened without interrupting. He refilled her glass twice more.
Sorry. You don't need to hear my problems. You probably have your own.
Everyone's got problems. Doesn't mean yours don't matter.
He poured himself a small glass of water. Ethan did have his own problems. His father wanted him back at the company. His mother called every day begging him to return. His younger brother had taken his place and was making a mess of things. But none of that mattered compared to watching someone's mother die. The bar grew quieter as midnight approached. Other patrons filtered out. Maya and Ethan kept talking. She told him about growing up with a single mother, about learning to be independent, about feeling like she had to handle everything herself. He told her about feeling trapped by expectations, about wanting to make his own choices, about needing to understand the real world.
My family thinks I'm wasting my time here. They don't understand why I'd want to serve drinks when I could be running meetings.
Why do you want to?
Because here people are real. They don't perform. They just are.
Maya understood that more than he knew. They discovered they both loved old movies. They both hated olives. They both felt like they didn't quite fit anywhere. Maya found herself laughing for the first time in days. Ethan had made a joke about a difficult customer from last week.
You're funny. I didn't expect that.
I'm full of surprises.
He pretended to juggle 3 bottles. Then, admitted he had never actually learned how. Maya laughed harder.
So you're a bartender? Who can't do bar tricks?
I prefer to think of myself as a bartender who focuses on conversation over theatrics.
That's a fancy way of saying you can't juggle.
Exactly.
It was almost 1 in the morning when Maya realized she should leave. She stood up too quickly and swayed. Ethan caught her elbow.
I should go home.
Are you sure you're okay to travel?
Maya looked at him. Really looked at him. His concern was genuine.
Honestly, no. But I don't have anywhere else to go.
I have an apartment upstairs. You can rest there until you're sober enough to get home safely.
Maya knew she should say no. She should call a taxi. She should be responsible. But the thought of her empty apartment, the thought of lying awake worrying about her mother, the thought of facing another impossible tomorrow, it all felt too heavy.
Okay. Thank you.
Ethan's apartment surprised her. She had expected something messier from a bartender. But the space was clean and organized. Books lined one wall. A decent sound system sat in the corner. A few plants thrived near the windows.
You read a lot.
Guilty pleasure. Mystery novels mostly. The kind where the butler always did it.
Does the butler always do it?
About 30% of the time. Which is more than you'd think.
Maya sat on the couch. Ethan brought her a glass of water. The alcohol buzz was fading. Reality was creeping back in. Tears started flowing before she could stop them. Ethan sat beside her. He didn't try to fix anything. He just handed her tissues and waited. Maya cried for her mother, for her helplessness, for the unfairness of it all. When the tears finally stopped, she felt emptied out. Ethan's hand rested on her shoulder. She turned to look at him. His eyes held kindness and something else. Something that made her heart skip.
Thank you for listening. Nobody else wanted to hear it.
I wanted to hear it. You matter.
His thumb traced small circles on her shoulder. Maya didn't know who moved first. Maybe it was both of them. Their lips met softly at first. Then, with increasing urgency, Maya knew this was probably a mistake. She didn't care. For this moment she wanted to feel something other than despair. She wanted to be close to someone. She wanted to forget. Ethan pulled back slightly.
Are you sure about this?
I'm not sure about anything. But I want this.
She kissed him again. They moved to the bedroom still tangled together. Clothes fell away. Maya felt alive for the first time in days. The world narrowed to just the two of them. Nothing else existed. Not hospitals. Not bills. Not impossible deadlines. Just skin and breath and connection. Afterward, they lay in the darkness. Ethan's arm around her shoulders. Maya's head on his chest. She listened to his heartbeat. Steady and strong. So different from her mother's failing heart.
I should probably feel guilty about this, but I don't.
Me neither. Sometimes we need connection, even if it's complicated.
Maya fell asleep, feeling safe. It was the first peaceful sleep she'd had in a week. Ethan stayed awake longer. He looked at this woman who had stumbled into his bar, into his life. He pulled out his phone, sent a text to someone named Grace, made arrangements. Then he put the phone away and held Maya closer. Maya woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows. For a moment, she couldn't remember where she was. Then it all came back. The bar. The confession. Ethan. She sat up quickly. Ethan was gone. A note lay on the pillow beside her. The note said he had an early morning commitment, that she should help herself to coffee, that he hoped she felt better, that he would like to see her again. His number was written at the bottom. Maya felt panic rising. What had she done? She had slept with a stranger, a bartender she barely knew, while her mother lay dying in a hospital. Shame washed over her in waves. She dressed quickly. Her hands shook as she pulled on her jeans. She needed to get out. Needed to pretend this never happened. She couldn't face Ethan again. Couldn't face the kindness in his eyes. She slipped out of the apartment without taking anything. Not even the offered coffee. Not even the phone number. The morning air felt sharp and accusatory. Maya walked home in a daze. Her phone buzzed with a message from Jennifer, her best friend since college. Jennifer had been helping field calls from bill collectors. Maya ignored the message. She couldn't talk to anyone right now. She needed a shower. Needed to wash away the evidence of her impulsive night. 2 days passed in a blur of anxiety. Maya threw herself into frantic activity. She created a fundraising page online. She shared it with everyone she knew. Donations trickled in. $5 here. $20 there. By the second evening, she had raised $3,000. It felt like a joke. Like trying to fill the ocean with a teaspoon. The hospital called twice about payment arrangements. Maya promised she was working on it. She avoided the Grand Meridian entirely. She couldn't face Ethan. Couldn't explain why she had run. Couldn't deal with one more complicated emotion. Sarah grew weaker each day. The doctors were kind, but realistic. Time was running out. On the third morning, Maya's phone rang. It was an unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Finally, she picked up on the fifth ring.
Hello?
A professional woman's voice came through. Calm and efficient. Grace from the hospital billing department. Maya braced for bad news. Grace explained that an anonymous donor had paid Sarah's surgery bill in full. The procedure was scheduled for tomorrow morning. Maya stood frozen in her tiny kitchen.
What? That's impossible. Who would do that?
Grace repeated the information patiently. Someone had wired $80,000 to the hospital. They had specifically designated it for Sarah's surgery. They wanted to remain anonymous. Maya felt dizzy.
I need to know who it was. I have to thank them.
Grace apologized. The donor had been very clear about anonymity. All Maya needed to know was that her mother would get the surgery. The call ended. Maya sat down hard on her kitchen floor. Who would do this? Who had that kind of money? Who even knew about her situation? Then it hit her like a physical blow. Ethan. She had told him everything that night. But how could a bartender have $80,000? Unless he wasn't really a bartender. Unless everything about that night was more complicated than she thought. Maya grabbed her jacket and ran. She had to find him. Had to know. Had to understand. She burst into the Grand Meridian at 11 in the morning. The bar was nearly empty. A different bartender stood behind the counter. A woman with short red hair. Maya's heart sank.
Where's Ethan? The guy who usually works here. Tall. Dark hair.
The woman looked confused. She said she had only been working there 2 weeks. She didn't know anyone named Ethan. Maybe Maya could try coming back during evening hours. Maya left feeling more confused than ever. Who was Ethan? What was he? Why had he helped her? She went straight to the hospital. Sarah was already being prepped for surgery. Her mother looked scared, but hopeful. Nurses bustled around, checking monitors, adjusting 40 lines, making final preparations.
Hey, Mom. Today's the day.
Sarah squeezed Maya's hand. Her grip was weak, but determined. She asked where the money came from. Maya hesitated. She didn't want to lie anymore, but she also didn't have a real answer.
Someone kind. Someone who wanted to help. I'm still figuring out who.
Sarah smiled. She had always believed in the goodness of strangers. The nurses came to wheel her to the operating room. Maya walked beside the gurney. She kissed her mother's forehead.
I love you, Mom. I'll be right here when you wake up.
Then Sarah disappeared through the double doors. Maya sank into a waiting room chair. The surgery would take 4 to 6 hours. Jennifer arrived 20 minutes later with coffee and sandwiches. She sat beside Maya without saying much, just being present. Jennifer worked as a paralegal downtown. She had known Maya since their freshman dorm room. She had seen Maya through breakups, through job losses, through every crisis. But this felt different. This felt bigger. Maya told her about the anonymous payment.
$80,000. Just like that. Someone paid it.
Jennifer's eyes widened. She asked if Maya had any idea who. Maya told her about the night at the bar. About Ethan. About waking up alone. About running away. About trying to find him again. Jennifer listened with growing amazement.
You think it was him? It has to be. But how could a bartender have that money?
Jennifer thought for a moment. She worked with wealthy people. She knew how they operated.
Maybe he's not really a bartender. Rich people do weird things sometimes. Trying to be normal or whatever.
Maya nodded slowly. That possibility made sense. It also made everything more complicated. If Ethan had that kind of money, why was he working in a bar? Why had he hidden his identity? Why had he helped her? 3 hours passed. Then 4. Then 5. Maya paced the waiting room. She checked her phone obsessively. Jennifer brought more coffee. They played cards to pass the time. Other families came and went. Some left crying with joy. Others left with devastated faces. Finally, Dr. Harrison emerged. He was still in his surgical scrubs. His mask hung around his neck. He smiled before he spoke. Maya felt relief flood through her samini.
She's okay.
Dr. Harrison nodded. He explained that the surgery had gone better than expected. Sarah's heart was responding well. She would need recovery time. Several weeks at minimum. But the prognosis was good. Maya started crying. Jennifer hugged her tightly. 20 minutes later, Maya was allowed into recovery. Sarah looked small and fragile. Tubes and wires connected her to various machines. But her color was better. Her breathing seemed easier. Maya took her mother's hand carefully.
You did it, Mom. You're going to be okay.
Sarah's eyes fluttered open. She tried to smile. The effort clearly exhausted her. Maya stayed by her side as evening fell. Jennifer eventually left with promises to return tomorrow. Nurses came and went, checking vitals, adjusting medications, making notes on charts. Around 9 that evening, a nurse Maya hadn't seen before entered. She was older with kind eyes. Her name tag read Margaret. She checked Sarah's monitors efficiently. Then she turned to Maya. Margaret asked if Maya needed anything. Maya shook her head. Then, on impulse, she asked if Margaret knew anything about the anonymous donor. Margaret's expression shifted slightly. She glanced at the door, then spoke quietly. Margaret said she wasn't supposed to say anything, but she had processed the wire transfer paperwork. The money came from a trust fund, one associated with the Richardson family. Maya's breath caught. Richardson. The name sounded familiar, but she couldn't place it.
Who are the Richardsons?
Margaret looked genuinely surprised. She explained that the Richardsons owned this hospital. They owned 11 others across the state. They were one of the wealthiest families in the region. Richard Richardson Sr. was practically a legend. Maya felt the room tilt. Richardson. Ethan Richardson. It had to be. The bartender wasn't a bartender at all. He was part of one of the wealthiest families in the state. Margaret noticed Maya's pale face. She asked if Maya was feeling all right. Maya nodded automatically. Her mind was racing. Margaret finished her checks and left quietly. Maya sat frozen in her chair. Everything made sense now. Ethan's clean apartment. His education. His insight into people. He had been playing at being normal. And she had fallen for it. But why? Why hide his identity? Why work as a bartender? Why help her? The next morning, Sarah was stable enough to be moved to a regular room. Maya helped with the transfer. She stayed positive and cheerful for her mother. But inside she felt turmoil. She needed answers. She needed to find Ethan. Around noon, Jennifer returned with fresh clothes for Maya.
I need you to stay with Mom. I have to go somewhere.
Jennifer looked at her friend's determined expression.
You found him. I found out who he is. Now I need to find him.
Maya left the hospital with purpose. She went back to the Grand Meridian one more time. The red-haired bartender recognized her.
I was here asking about Ethan. I really need to find him.
The woman's expression changed to understanding. She explained that Ethan had quit about a week ago. He had only worked there part-time anyway. Some rich kid playing at real life, was how she put it. She didn't have his contact information. But she suggested checking with the hospital. If his family owned them, he had to be connected. Maya went back to the hospital. This time she went to the administrative offices. She asked to speak with someone about the Richardson family. She was directed to several different people. Finally, she ended up in front of an assistant who looked harried.
I need to speak with Ethan Richardson. It's important.
The assistant looked her up and down, clearly deciding if Maya was worth the trouble. The assistant said that Ethan Richardson had recently returned to work at the company. He was in meetings all day. Maya could leave a message. Maya wrote her number on a piece of paper. She added one line beneath it. We need to talk. She left before she could second-guess herself. Hours passed. Maya sat with Sarah, helped her eat dinner, watched mindless television together. Her phone stayed silent. Maybe Ethan wouldn't call. Maybe he had done his good deed and moved on. Maybe she was just another story to him. At 8:30 that evening, her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Meet me at the hospital coffee shop tomorrow at 3. Just an initial at the end day. Maya's heart raced. She had 20 hours to figure out what to say. How to feel about all of this. The next day dragged on forever. Maya checked on Sarah every hour. Her mother was improving steadily. Sarah could sit up now. Could eat solid food. Could laugh without pain. The surgery had been a complete success. Maya felt overwhelming gratitude. And confusion. And anger. And fear. At 2:45, Maya made her way to the coffee shop. It was a small space near the main entrance. She ordered a tea she didn't want. She sat at a corner table. Her leg bounced with nervous energy. At exactly 3 p.m. Ethan walked in. He looked different. He wore a suit. His hair was neatly styled. He looked like money. Like power. Like everything he had been hiding. He spotted her immediately. Their eyes met across the room. Maya felt her breath catch. He walked over slowly. He sat down across from her. For a moment, neither of them spoke.
So you're not really a bartender?
No, I'm not.
Maya waited for more. Ethan seemed to gather his thoughts.
My family owns hospitals, including this one. I needed to get away from that world for a while. Bartending was an escape.
An escape? You were playing at being poor while I was actually desperate.
That's not how it was.
Then how was it?
Ethan leaned forward. His expression was earnest.
I was trying to understand real life. Real people. My family lives in a bubble. I wanted out of that bubble.
And helping desperate women who pour out their problems. Was that part of understanding real life?
That's not fair. I listened because I wanted to. I helped because I could. Because watching you suffer when I had the means to help would have been cruel.
You should have told me who you were.
You would have refused my help.
Maya knew he was right. She would have Horrell. She did have that much pride.
So you lied instead.
I omitted. There's a difference.
Not to me.
Ethan reached across the table. His hand stopped, just short of touching hers.
I'm sorry. I should have been honest. But I'm not sorry I helped your mother. I'd do it again.
Maya felt tears threatening. She was so tired of crying. Tired of being confused. Tired of feeling grateful and angry at the same time.
I don't know how to feel about this. About you. About any of it.
That's fair. Take your time. I'll wait.
Why would you wait? You don't even know me.
I know you better than you think. And I'd like to know you more.
Maya looked directly at him. His eyes held the same kindness she remembered. But now she saw something else too. Vulnerability. Open. Fear of rejection.
That night we spent together. Was that real? Or was that part of your escape fantasy?
That was the most real thing I've experienced in years. I promise you that.
Maya wanted to believe him. Part of her did believe him. But everything felt complicated now.
I need time to process this. I need to focus on my mom right now. She's still recovering.
I understand. When you're ready to talk. Really talk. You know where to find me.
He stood to leave. Then he turned back.
For what it's worth. Meeting you reminded me why my family's hospitals exist. Why helping people matters. Why this work is important.
He walked away before Maya could respond. She sat alone with her cooling tea. Her mind spun with questions and feelings. But underneath the confusion was something else. A flutter of possibility. Maybe even hope. Maya returned to Sarah's room. Her mother was awake and alert. Sarah smiled when she saw Maya. It was her real smile now. Not the weak one from before the surgery.
You look so much better, Mom.
Sarah patted the bed beside her. Maya sat carefully. Sarah studied her daughter's face with a mother's knowing eyes.
You saw him. Whoever paid for my surgery.
Maya nodded. Sarah waited patiently for the story. Maya told her everything. About the bar. About Ethan. About the hidden identity. About the money. About her confusion. Sarah listened without interrupting.
What do you think, Mom? Am I crazy to even consider seeing him again?
Sarah reached for Maya's hand.
I think he saved my life. I think he cares about you. The rest you can figure out together.
Maya wanted it to be that simple. Sarah made it sound so easy. But nothing about this felt easy.
What if I can't trust him? What if there are more lies? Then you'll deal with it. But don't throw away something that could be good, because you're scared.
Maya stayed until Sarah fell asleep. Then she walked slowly to the parking lot. Her phone buzzed. Another text from Ethan's number. This one was longer. He wasn't trying to buy her forgiveness. He wasn't expecting anything in return. He just wanted her to know that meeting her had changed something in him. Reminded him of what mattered. He was going back to work for his father full-time. Taking his place in the family business. But he hoped they could talk again. Maya read the message 3 times. She didn't respond. Not yet. She needed to think. The next few days fell into a rhythm. Maya visited Sarah every morning and evening. Her mother grew stronger each day. She could walk short distances now. Could laugh without pain. Could talk about going home soon. Maya felt cautiously optimistic. Jennifer brought food and magazines regularly. She asked about Ethan. Maya deflected. She wasn't ready to talk about him. Wasn't sure how to explain him to herself. She returned to her job at the bookstore. Her boss had been understanding about the time off. But she needed the paycheck. Life was slowly returning to normal. Except nothing felt normal anymore. A week after their coffee shop conversation, Maya returned home to find a package at her door. No return address. Just her name, in neat handwriting. She brought it inside carefully. Opened it slowly. Inside was a first edition mystery novel. One they had discussed that night at his apartment. Tucked inside was a note. The note said he had found this at an estate sale. Thought of her, immediately. No pressure. No expectations. Just a book he thought she would enjoy. Maya sat on her couch holding the book. It was thoughtful. Personal. Exactly the kind of gesture that made her defenses crumble. She picked up her phone. Started typing a response. Deleted it. Started again. Finally, she settled on something simple. Thank you for the book. And for everything. I think we should talk. His response came within minutes.
Coffee. Tomorrow. Your choice of location.
Maya agreed. They set a time and place. A cafe halfway between her apartment and the hospital. Neutral territory. Maya felt nervous anticipation. This conversation would be important. Would maybe determine what happened next. She spent the evening thinking about what to say. How to navigate the complicated feelings. Gratitude mixed with confusion. Attraction mixed with uncertainty. Fear mixed with hope. Sarah called that evening. Her mother sounded cheerful. She had made friends with another patient in the rehabilitation wing. Was joking with the nurses. Was looking forward to going home in another week. Maya felt profound relief. Her mother would be okay. Really okay. That knowledge gave her courage. If her mother could survive open heart surgery, Maya could survive one difficult conversation. She could be honest about her feelings. Could face whatever came next. The next morning, Maya dressed carefully. Not too formal. Not too casual. She wanted to feel confident. She arrived at the cafe 5 minutes early. Ordered a lot. Found a quiet table. Ethan arrived exactly on time. He wore jeans and a sweater. He looked more like the bartender version. Less like the wealthy heir. Maya appreciated the effort.
Hi.
Hi.
They both smiled at the awkwardness. Ethan sat down with his own coffee. For a moment, they just looked at each other.
I've been thinking about everything. About what happened. About who you are. About all of it.
And Ga.
And I'm still confused. But I want to understand.
Ethan nodded. He seemed relieved.
What do you want to know?
Everything. Start from the beginning. Why were you really working as a bartender?
Ethan took a breath. His answer came slowly, but honestly. He told her about growing up in a wealthy family. About the expectations and pressure. About his father's demands. About feeling like he was just a piece in someone else's game. He told her about walking away. About needing to prove he could make it on his own. About wanting to meet people who saw him, not his bank account.
The bar gave me that. For 6 months I was just Ethan. Not Ethan Richardson. Not the heir. Just a guy mixing drinks and listening to people.
And then I walked in.
And then you walked in. And you were real. And hurting. And I wanted to help.
Maya listened. She could hear the sincerity in his voice.
Why did you pay for the surgery anonymously? Why not just tell me?
Because I knew you. Even after one night, I knew you well enough. You would have refused help from me. Your pride wouldn't have allowed it.
So you decided for me.
Yes. And maybe that was wrong. But I couldn't watch your mother die when I had the means to help. I couldn't do that.
Maya felt her anger softening. She understood his reasoning, even if she didn't fully agree with it.
And sleeping together. Was that part of your escape fantasy?
No. God, no. That was unexpected. That was about you and me. Nothing else.
He looked directly at her. His eyes held no deception.
I haven't stopped thinking about you. About that night. About the connection we had.
Me neither.
The admission came before Maya could stop it. Ethan's expression softened.
So where does that leave us?
I don't know. This is all so complicated.
It doesn't have to be. We can take it slow. Get to know each other properly. No secrets this time.
Maya wanted that. wanted to believe they could have something real.
Okay. Let's try. Slowly.
As slow as you need.
They talked for another hour. About his work at the hospitals. About her dreams of maybe writing someday. About their shared love of old movies. About nothing and everything. Slowly, the tension dissolved, replaced by the same easy connection from that first night. This time built on honesty instead of secrets. When they finally left the cafe, Ethan walked her to her car. He didn't try to kiss her, just squeezed her hand gently.
Can I see you again? Maybe dinner this weekend?
I'd like that.
Maya drove home feeling lighter. The weight of secrets had lifted. Yes, there were still complications. Still questions about where this might go. But for now she had hope. Her mother was healing. And maybe she was too. Maybe sometimes strangers became something more. Maybe sometimes impossible situations led to unexpected connections. Maybe sometimes the universe gave you exactly what you needed, even if you didn't know you needed it. That evening Maya visited Sarah in the rehabilitation facility. Her mother was sitting up in a chair, reading a magazine, looking more like herself than she had in months.
You look wonderful, Mom.
Sarah smiled. She asked about Maya's day. Maya told her about the coffee with Ethan, about the honest conversation, about agreeing to see him again. Sarah listened with knowing eyes.
I'm proud of you for giving him a chance. I'm scared, though. What if it doesn't work out? What if there are more surprises?
Sarah reached for her daughter's hand.
Life is full of surprises. Some good, some bad. But you can't hide from them. You have to live anyway.
Maya thought about that wisdom. Her mother was right. She had spent so long trying to control everything, trying to handle everything herself. Maybe it was time to let someone else in. Maybe it was time to trust. 3 days later, Maya met Ethan for dinner. Nothing fancy. Just a small Italian restaurant. Good food and quiet atmosphere. Ethan stood when she approached, pulled out her chair. They both laughed at the formality.
We're really doing this. The actual dating thing.
We are. Is that weird?
A little. But good weird.
Dinner was easy. Conversation flowed naturally. They discovered more shared interests, more points of connection. Ethan told stories about his work, about the patients his family's hospitals helped, about finding his purpose again. Maya could hear the pride in his voice. He was excited about the work, about making a difference. Maya shared her love of books, her dream of writing, her relationship with her recovering mother. Ethan listened with genuine interest, asked thoughtful questions, made her feel heard and valued. After dinner, they walked through the city. The night air was cool. Streetlights created pools of warm light. They talked about everything and nothing. At one point, Ethan took her hand. It felt natural. Right. Like they had been doing this for years. When he walked her to her car, the moment felt charged.
I had a really good time tonight.
Me too. Can I see you again soon?
Yes.
They stood close. Maya could see the question in his eyes. She answered by rising on her toes. Their kiss was soft, different from that first desperate night. This was a beginning, filled with possibility. When they pulled apart, Ethan smiled.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay.
As Maya drove home, she felt something unfamiliar. Contentment. For weeks, her life had been crisis and chaos. Now, things were settling. Not perfect, but possible. Her mother was healing. She was building something with Ethan. The future felt open instead of terrifying. Maybe Sarah was right. Maybe life was full of surprises. And maybe sometimes those surprises were worth the risk. Maya smiled to herself. For the first time in a long time, everything felt like it might actually be okay. 2 weeks passed in a comfortable rhythm. Maya and Ethan saw each other 3 or 4 times a week. They kept things simple. Coffee dates, walks in the park, quiet dinners. No pressure, no rush. Just getting to know each other properly. Sarah was discharged from the rehabilitation facility. Maya helped her mother settle back into her small apartment. Sarah was doing well, following doctor's orders, taking medications, going to physical therapy. The surgery had been a complete success. One evening, Maya and Ethan were having dinner at his apartment. He had cooked pasta. It was surprisingly good. They were laughing about a movie they had watched the night before, when Maya suddenly felt dizzy. The room tilted slightly.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I need to sit down.
Ethan guided her to the couch, brought her water. Maya felt nauseous. She had been feeling off for a few days. Tired, slightly queasy. She had blamed it on stress, on the emotional roller coaster of the past month. But now a different thought crept into her mind. A terrifying thought. That night at the bar, they had used protection. She was sure they had. But nothing was 100%. Maya felt panic rising. She couldn't be pregnant. Not now. Not when things were just starting to work out.
Should I take you to the hospital? You look really pale.
No, I'm fine. I think I just need to go home and rest.
Ethan drove her home despite her protests. He walked her to her door. She could see the concern in his eyes.
Call me if you need anything. I mean, anytime.
I will. Thank you.
Maya went inside and immediately called Jennifer. Her friend answered on the second ring.
I need you to bring me something. And I need you not to ask questions until after.
Jennifer arrived 30 minutes later with a paper bag. She handed it to Maya, without a word. Inside were 3 pregnancy tests. Different brands. Just to be sure. Maya went into the bathroom. Her hands shook as she opened the first box. 5 minutes later, she stared at the little plastic stick. 2 pink lines. Positive. She tried the second test. Positive. The third test. Positive. Maya sat on the bathroom floor. Jennifer knocked softly.
Can I come in?
Maya opened the door. Jennifer saw her face and knew. She sat down beside Maya on the cold tile floor.
All 3 are positive.
Jennifer wrapped her arm around Maya's shoulder. They sat in silence for a long moment.
What are you going to do? I don't know. I don't know anything right now.
Maya felt overwhelmed. She was finally building something with Ethan. Something real. And now this. How would he react? Would he think she had trapped him? Would he run? Would his wealthy family accept her? Accept a baby from a one-night stand?
I need to tell him. He deserves to know.
Jennifer nodded.
But maybe wait a few days. Make sure you're ready for that conversation.
Maya agreed. She needed time to process this herself first. Over the next 3 days, she barely slept. She researched options. She thought about her future. She thought about the baby growing inside her. She thought about Ethan. About what this would mean for them. Finally, she called him. Asked to meet at the same cafe where they had reconciled. Neutral territory. Ethan arrived looking happy to see her. Then, he noticed her expression. His smile faded.
What's wrong? Is it your mom?
No, Mom's fine. It's about us.
Ethan sat down slowly. Maya took a deep breath.
I'm pregnant.
The words hung in the air between them. Ethan's face went through several expressions. Shock. Confusion. Calculation. He was doing the math. Realizing it was from that first night.
Are you sure?
3 tests. All positive.
Ethan leaned back in his chair. Ran his hand through his hair. Maya waited for his response. Her heart pounding.
Okay, we'll figure this out.
That's it. That's all you have to say.
What do you want me to say? I'm processing.
Maya felt tears starting. She had hoped for something more. Some reassurance. Some emotion.
I need to know what you're thinking. What you want.
I need some time to think about this. Can you give me that?
Maya felt like he had slapped her. She stood up.
Take all the time you need.
She left before he could respond. Before she could start crying in public, she made it to her car before the tears came. She drove home in a blur. Called in sick to work. Spent the rest of the day in bed. Jennifer came over that evening with food.
How did he take it? He asked for time to think.
Jennifer's expression darkened.
What an ass. Maybe he's just shocked. Maybe I should give him space.
But Maya didn't really believe that. She felt abandoned, just like her father had abandoned her, and Sarah. History was repeating itself. 2 days passed, with no word from Ethan. Maya felt numb. She went through the motions. Visited Sarah. Worked at the bookstore. Pretended everything was fine. On the third day, Ethan showed up at her apartment. He looked like he hadn't slept. Maya almost didn't let him in. But curiosity won.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I reacted that way.
Maya crossed her arms. Stayed by the door.
I needed time to process. To think about what this means. About what I want. And what do you want?
I want to be with you. I want this baby. I want us to be a family.
Maya felt something crack inside her. She wanted to believe him. But fear held her back.
You took 3 days to figure that out.
I know. And I'm sorry. But I'm here now. And I'm all in. If you'll have me.
Maya studied his face. He looked sincere. Scared but sincere. She made a decision.
Okay. But we do this together. No running. No disappearing when things get hard.
I promise. No running.
He stepped closer. Pulled her into a hug. Maya let herself lean against him. They would figure this out. Somehow. Over the next few weeks, they settled into a new normal. Maya had her first prenatal appointment. Ethan came with her. They saw the heartbeat on the ultrasound. Tiny but strong. Ethan squeezed her hand. His eyes were wet. Maya felt hope growing alongside the baby. But then, Ethan brought up meeting his family. His father specifically. Maya felt anxiety spike.
I don't think that's a good idea yet.
They need to know. About you. About the baby.
What if they hate me? What if they think I'm after your money?
They won't think that. And even if they do, I don't care.
Maya wasn't convinced. But she agreed. The meeting was set for Sunday dinner. At the Richardson estate, Maya spent days agonizing over what to wear. Finally, Jennifer helped her pick a simple dress. Conservative, but not frumpy. The day arrived too quickly. Ethan picked her up at 5. The drive took 40 minutes. They left the city behind, entered an area of massive properties, finally turned into a long driveway. The house at the end was more like a mansion. Maya felt sick.
I can't do this. This is too much.
Yes, you can. I'll be right beside you.
They parked, walked to the front door. It opened before they could knock. A woman in her 50s stood there. Elegant. Perfectly styled. Ethan's mother.
Mom, this is Maya.
The woman smiled. But it didn't reach her eyes. She extended her hand. Catherine Richardson led them through a marble foyer. Into a formal living room. Everything screamed money. Old money. Maya felt completely out of place. Ethan's father stood near the fireplace. Richard Richardson, Sr. He was tall. Imposing. He looked Maya up and down.
Dad, this is Maya.
Richard shook her hand. His grip was firm. Assessing. They made awkward small talk. Catherine offered drinks. Maya asked for water. The tension was thick. Finally, they sat down for dinner. The dining room table could seat 20. It was just the 4 of them. Plus Ethan's younger brother Marcus, who arrived late and out of breath.
Sorry. Traffic was insane.
Marcus was friendly. He joked with Ethan. Smiled at Maya. She liked him immediately. Dinner was served by staff. Course after course. Maya tried to eat. Her stomach was in knots. Finally, Richard cleared his throat. Richard spoke in a measured tone. He said Ethan had mentioned there was important news. Ethan reached for Maya's hand under the table.
Maya and I are having a baby.
Silence fell over the table. Catherine's fork clattered against her plate. Richard's expression hardened. Marcus looked back and forth between everyone.
Well, that's it. Congratulations.
Catherine recovered first. She asked how far along Maya was. Her tone was carefully neutral. Maya answered, 8 weeks. Catherine nodded. Richard still hadn't spoken.
Dad.
Richard finally looked at Maya. His gaze was cold. Richard asked how they met. The question felt like an interrogation. Ethan started to answer. Maya interrupted.
We met at a bar. Your son was working there as a bartender. I was desperate. My mother needed surgery. I told him my problems. We spent one night together. And here we are.
Richard's jaw tightened. Richard said this was quite a situation. His tone made it clear what kind of situation he thought it was. Maya felt anger rising.
I didn't plan this. I didn't even know who Ethan was. I'm not after your money.
Dad, that's enough. Maya is here because I care about her. Because we're building something together.
Richard stood up. Richard said he needed to speak with Ethan privately. They left the dining room. Catherine made more awkward small talk. Maya barely heard her. Marcus tried to lighten the mood.
Don't worry about Dad. He'll come around. He just needs time to adjust.
But Maya heard raised voices from the other room. Ethan and Richard were arguing. She couldn't make out words. But the tone was clear. 20 minutes later, they returned. Ethan looked furious. Richard looked unmoved. Richard announced that dinner was over. He said they would discuss this matter further, at a more appropriate time. Maya stood up.
Thank you for having me.
Her voice was steady. She wouldn't let them see her cry. Ethan grabbed her hand. They left quickly. Once in the car, Maya broke down.
That was a disaster.
I'm sorry. My father can be difficult.
Difficult. He looked at me like I was trash. Like I'm trying to trap you.
I don't care what he thinks. We're doing this with or without his approval.
Maya wanted to believe him. But doubt crept in. This was Ethan's world. These were his people. How long before he resented her? Before he wished he had chosen someone from his own class? The next few weeks were tense. Ethan was pulled into constant meetings with his father, trying to prove himself at work, trying to prepare for the baby, trying to support Maya. The stress showed on his face. Maya tried to be understanding, but she felt alone, abandoned again. Sarah was thrilled about the baby. She had always wanted grandchildren. She helped Maya start planning, buying tiny clothes, reading parenting books. But even Sarah's excitement couldn't fill the void. One evening, Ethan came over looking exhausted. Maya had made dinner. They ate in silence. Finally, Maya couldn't take it anymore.
We need to talk.
About what?
About this. About use. You're barely here anymore. When you are here, you're distracted.
I'm trying my best. I'm working 60-hour weeks, dealing with my father's constant criticism, preparing for a baby. What more do you want from me?
His tone was sharp, defensive. Maya felt hurt.
I want you to be present. To actually be here when you're with me.
I am present. I'm doing everything I can.
It doesn't feel like it. It feels like you're pulling away.
Maybe because you keep pushing, keep questioning everything, keep assuming I'm going to leave.
Maya stood up, tears streaming down her face.
Get out.
Maya.
I said get out. I can't do this right now.
Ethan grabbed his jacket, slammed the door on his way out. Maya collapsed on the couch, sobbing. This was exactly what she had feared. They couldn't handle the pressure. Couldn't make this work. Days passed, with no contact. Maya threw herself into work. Into preparations for the baby. Into pretending she was fine. Jennifer saw through it.
You need to call him. Why should I call him? He's the one who left. Because you told him to leave. And because you're both being stubborn. And because that baby needs both parents.
Maya knew Jennifer was right, but pride held her back. A week after their fight, a package arrived. No note, just a set of keys. And an address. Maya recognized the address. It was in a nice neighborhood, not wealthy like Ethan's family, but comfortable. She drove over, used the keys, walked into a beautiful 2-bedroom apartment. Furnished, ready for a baby. A nursery was set up in the 2nd bedroom. Pale yellow walls. White crib. Soft toys. On the dresser was an envelope. Inside was a deed. The apartment was in her name. And a note from Ethan. He said he knew she valued independence. He didn't want her to feel trapped. This was hers. No strings attached. Whether they worked out or not, she and the baby would have a safe home. Maya sat in the nursery and cried. Not from sadness, from overwhelming emotion. Ethan understood her. Even when they were fighting. Even when things were hard. He understood what she needed. She pulled out her phone.
I'm sorry. Can we talk?
His response came immediately.
I'm outside your apartment.
Maya drove back quickly. Found him sitting on her doorstep. He stood when he saw her. They stared at each other.
The apartment is beautiful.
I wanted you to feel secure, no matter what happens with us.
I'm sorry I pushed you away. I'm scared of getting hurt, of not being enough.
You're more than enough. I'm sorry I've been distant. I'm scared too. Of failing you. Of failing our baby.
They moved toward each other. Met in the middle. Held each other tightly.
We can't keep doing this. Fighting and running.
I know. We need to communicate better. Actually talk instead of assuming.
They went inside. Sat down. Really talked. For hours. About fears. Expectations. The future. They agreed to start couples counseling. To move into the new apartment together. To face Ethan's family as a united front. It wasn't perfect. But it was progress. Maya was 16 weeks pregnant when she and Ethan moved into their apartment. Sarah helped them unpack. Jennifer brought housewarming gifts. Marcus stopped by with pizza. It felt like building a real life. Something stable. Something theirs. Ethan had been working on his relationship with his father. Slowly, Richard was coming around. Not quickly. Not enthusiastically. But he was trying. Catherine had sent baby gifts. Expensive. Impersonal. But still gifts. One Saturday morning, Ethan and Maya were assembling baby furniture. Maya was reading instructions. Ethan was holding pieces upside down. They were both frustrated.
That part goes there.
No, it doesn't. It goes here.
The instructions literally show it going there.
The instructions are wrong.
Maya put down the manual. Looked at Ethan. He was completely serious. She started laughing.
You think the manufacturers printed wrong instructions?
It's possible. These things are mass-produced.
Just admit, you can't follow basic directions.
I can follow directions. These directions are faulty.
Maya laughed harder. Ethan tried to stay serious. But a smile cracked through. He put down the pieces.
Okay, fine. Maybe I'm not great at this.
Maybe we should call Marcus. Didn't he mention he built furniture in college?
Absolutely not. I am not calling my little brother to help me build a changing table.
So you admit it's a changing table. Not whatever backwards thing you were creating?
Ethan threw a foam packing peanut at her. She threw one back. They ended up in a small packing peanut war. Laughing like children. Finally, they called Marcus, who came over and had the furniture assembled in an hour. At 20 weeks, they found out they were having a girl. Ethan cried when the technician told them. Maya had never seen him so emotional. They celebrated with dinner. Talked about names. About the future. About their daughter. But peace didn't last long. One evening, Richard called. demanded Ethan come to the house. Alone. Ethan tried to refuse. Richard insisted. It was about the company. About Ethan's future. Maya told him to go. They couldn't avoid his family forever. Ethan returned 3 hours later, looking shocked.
What happened?
My father wants me to sign a prenup.
Maya felt like she'd been punched.
We're not even engaged.
That's what I said. But he's insisting. Before the baby comes. He wants to protect the family assets.
From me. He wants to protect them from me.
Ethan sat down heavily.
I told him no. I told him we're not doing that. He threatened to cut me off. Remove me from the company.
Maya felt sick. This was her worst fear realized. She was coming between Ethan and his family.
Maybe you should sign it. Maybe it's easier that way.
No. I'm not starting our life together with distrust. With contracts that assume we'll fail.
But your family. Your future.
You and our daughter are my future. If my father can't accept that, then he can keep his money.
Maya wanted to argue. Wanted to tell him not to sacrifice everything for her. But she also felt relief. He was choosing her. Really choosing her. The standoff with Richard lasted 3 weeks. Ethan kept working. Refused to sign anything. Richard made his life difficult. Gave him impossible assignments. Publicly criticized his work. Maya watched Ethan struggle. Watched him come home, exhausted and defeated.
Maybe we should just sign it. This isn't worth losing your career.
It's about principle now. If I give in, he'll think he can control everything. Every decision. For the rest of our lives.
Maya understood. But she hated seeing him suffer. Then one evening, Catherine showed up at their apartment. Alone. She asked to come in. Maya was surprised, but let her. Catherine sat in their living room. Looked around at the modest space. The baby preparations. Finally, she spoke. She said Richard was being unreasonable. Stubborn. But he was also scared. Scared of losing Ethan. Scared his son was making a mistake.
And what do you think?
Catherine looked at Maya directly. Catherine said she thought Ethan seemed happy. Happier than he had been in years. She said Maya made him better. Grounded him. She apologized for being cold at dinner. For not welcoming Maya properly.
Why are you telling me this?
Catherine smiled sadly. Catherine explained that she had come from nothing too. Married Richard, when his father disapproved. She knew what it was like to be judged. To be seen as not good enough. She didn't want her son's family torn apart by pride. She would talk to Richard. Try to make him see reason. True to her word. Catherine worked on Richard. Slowly, his stance softened. He didn't apologize. Men like Richard rarely did. But he stopped making demands. Stopped the threats. Invited them to family dinner again. This time was different. Richard was civil. Almost friendly. He asked about Maya's mother. About the pregnancy. About their plans. Marcus dominated conversation. Telling stories. Making everyone laugh. The evening ended without drama.
That went better than expected.
Ethan said as they drove home. Maya agreed. She felt cautiously optimistic. Maybe they could make this work. Maybe his family could accept her after all. Maya was 30 weeks pregnant when someone from Ethan's past appeared. Her name was Victoria. She had been engaged to Ethan 3 years ago. Their families had arranged it. Expected it. Ethan had broken it off before meeting Maya. Before his bartending phase. Victoria showed up at the hospital. At Ethan's office. She was beautiful. Sophisticated. Exactly the kind of woman Richard wanted for his son. Ethan came home and told Maya about Victoria's appearance. He said she wanted to talk. To reconnect. She had heard about the baby. About Maya. She claimed she was happy for them. But something felt off.
Do you want to see her?
No. But she's persistent. She grew up with my family. They're intertwined.
Maya felt insecurity creeping back. Victoria was from Ethan's world. Understood it in ways Maya never would. A few days later, they ran into Victoria at a restaurant. She approached their table. All smiles. Victoria introduced herself to Maya, complimented her pregnancy glow, asked all the right questions. But her eyes were calculating. Ethan was clearly uncomfortable. He kept the conversation short. Victoria left with promises to see them again soon.
She's beautiful.
Maya.
She is. And she's from your world. Your parents probably loved her.
They did. But I didn't. Not the way I love you.
Maya wanted to believe him. But doubt lingered. Victoria started appearing more frequently. At family events. At hospital fundraisers. Always perfectly dressed. Always saying the right things. Richard seemed pleased to see her. That bothered Maya more than anything. One evening, Victoria called Ethan. Maya could hear his side of the conversation. Victoria was crying. Some crisis. She needed help. Ethan looked torn.
I should probably go check on her. Make sure she's okay.
Maya felt panic rising.
You're going to her. Right now.
She's an old friend. She's upset.
She's your ex-fiancée, who clearly wants you back.
You're being paranoid.
The words stung. Maya stood up.
If you go to her, don't bother coming back tonight.
Maya, that's not fair.
Fair. You want to talk about fair? I'm 8 months pregnant, and you're running to your ex.
Ethan grabbed his keys. Left without another word. Maya called Jennifer. Sobbing. Her friend came over immediately. They talked for hours. Jennifer said Ethan was an idiot. Maya agreed. But she also felt scared. What if he realized Victoria was the better choice? Ethan came back at midnight. Maya was still awake. He sat on the edge of the bed.
You were right. Victoria wasn't in crisis. She wanted to talk about us. About getting back together.
Maya felt her heart stop.
And what did you say?
I told her I'm in love with you. That I'm building a family with you. That she needs to move on.
Relief flooded through Maya.
I'm sorry I didn't listen to you. I'm sorry I left. It won't happen again.
Maya pulled him close. They held each other. Victoria didn't appear again after that. Maya heard through Marcus that she had moved to the West Coast. Good riddance. At 35 weeks, Maya went into early labor. She was at the bookstore when the contractions started. Jennifer drove her to the hospital. Called Ethan. On the way, he met them in the emergency room, looking terrified.
It's too early. Is the baby okay?
The doctors assured them that 35 weeks was safe. The baby would be small but healthy. They moved Maya to a delivery room. She was scared. In pain. Ethan held her hand. Whispered encouragement. Sarah arrived. Out of breath. She had taken a taxi from across town. Labor lasted 8 hours. Maya had never experienced such pain. Such exhaustion. Ethan stayed by her side the entire time. Didn't leave for a moment. Finally, at 3 a.m, their daughter was born. 5 pounds, 6 ounces. Perfect. The nurses placed her on Maya's chest. She was tiny. Beautiful. She had Ethan's nose. Maya's eyes. They both cried. Overwhelmed by love. By responsibility. By the reality of this new life.
She's perfect.
She really is.
They named her Sophia, after Sarah's mother. Sarah held her granddaughter with tears streaming down her face. This was the family she had always dreamed of for Maya. Richard and Catherine arrived the next morning. Richard looked at Sophia through the nursery window. His expression softened. Catherine came into the room, held her granddaughter, smiled at Maya with genuine warmth. Catherine said, Sophia was beautiful. That Maya had done wonderfully. Richard even shook Maya's hand. Thanked her. It wasn't a dramatic reconciliation. But it was something. It was acceptance. Maya and Sophia came home 3 days later. Ethan had transformed their apartment. Flowers everywhere. Balloons. He had cleaned and organized. Prepared everything. The first night was terrifying. Sophia cried. They didn't know why. Ethan tried to change her diaper. Put it on backwards. Maya laughed until she cried.
This is harder than surgery.
At least surgery patients can tell you what's wrong.
They figured it out together. Learned Sophia's rhythms. Her needs. Her personality. She was a good baby. Slept in 3-hour stretches. Loved being held. Had a surprisingly loud cry for such a tiny person. Sarah visited daily. Helped with laundry. Cooking. Gave Maya and Ethan time to rest. Jennifer brought supplies. Marcus bought ridiculous baby clothes. Even Richard and Catherine became regular visitors. Slowly, they were building a family. Not perfect. Not without challenges. But real. When Sophia was 6 weeks old, Ethan came home with a small box. He seemed nervous. They were sitting on the couch. Sophia, asleep between them.
I know this isn't traditional. I know we did everything backwards.
He opened the box. A ring. Simple. Elegant. Perfect.
Will you marry me? Officially become my family.
Maya looked at the ring. At Ethan. At their sleeping daughter. Her life had changed so much. From that desperate night at the bar. To this moment. This family.
Yes.
Ethan slipped the ring on her finger. They kissed carefully. Not wanting to wake Sophia. They would have time for big celebrations later. For now, this quiet moment was enough. They married 3 months later. Small ceremony. Just family and close friends. Sarah cried through the entire thing. Sophia wore a tiny dress. Slept through most of it. Maya walked down the aisle carrying her daughter. Ethan waited at the altar with tears in his eyes. It wasn't the wedding Maya had imagined as a girl. It was better. Because it was real. Richard gave a toast at the reception. He said he had been wrong about Maya. That she had proven herself strong. Capable. Exactly what Ethan needed. It was the closest to an apology Maya would get. She accepted it gracefully. Their life settled into a new normal. Ethan worked but came home every night. Maya went back to the bookstore part-time. Sarah helped with childcare. Sophia grew. Started smiling. Then laughing. Then crawling. They celebrated every milestone. On Sophia's first birthday they had a big party. Both families came together. Richardson money, mixed with Sarah's modest friends. It worked. People mingled. Laughed. Celebrated. Maya watched Ethan with their daughter. He was teaching her to blow out her candle. Sophia kept trying to grab the flame instead. Everyone laughed. Jennifer pulled Maya aside.
You made it. We made it. All of us together.
Maya looked around the room. At the family they had built. At the love they had created. From such an unlikely beginning. From a desperate night at a bar. From an impossible situation. They had built something beautiful. That night after everyone left. After Sophia was asleep. Maya and Ethan sat on their balcony. Looking at the city lights.
Do you ever think about that first night? How different everything could have been.
All the time. If I had gone to a different bar. If you had been off that night. If you hadn't listened.
But you did. And I was there. And I listened. And here we are.
Maya leaned against him. Thought about the journey. The struggles. The fear. The love. It hadn't been easy. Nothing worth having ever is. But they had made it work. One day at a time. One decision at a time. Choosing each other over and over.
I'm glad it was you. That night, at the bar. I'm glad it was you who listened.
Me too.
They sat in comfortable silence. Years stretched ahead of them. Full of possibility. Full of challenges. Full of love. Maya thought about her mother's words. About life being full of surprises. Some good. Some bad. But you have to live anyway. She had lived. Had taken risks. Had opened her heart. And found a family. Found a home. Found herself. Sophia would grow up knowing she was loved. By parents who fought for each other. By grandparents who came together despite differences. by a community that supported them. She would know that families come in all forms. That love can emerge from unexpected places. That sometimes the most desperate moments lead to the greatest blessings. Maya looked at the ring on her finger, thought about the apartment they owned, about the daughter sleeping inside, about the man beside her, about Sarah recovering and thriving, about a future that once seemed impossible, now spread before her full of hope. She had walked into a bar desperate and alone. She had walked out with everything. Sometimes life surprises you. Sometimes strangers become family. Sometimes one night changes everything. Maya smiled to herself, grateful for every twist, every turn, every impossible moment that led her here. To this life, this love, this family. How did you enjoy today's story? Please leave a rating from 1 to 10. Let us know where you're watching from. And if you have a similar experience or personal story, feel free to share it in the comments. Your engagement greatly helps the growth and longevity of this channel. If you subscribe, you'll receive new stories every day. We hope today's episode brought richness to your day. Thank you for watching.